When I was younger, I rented a small apartment in an old building downtown. It wasn't fancy, but it was cheap, and it was mine. The place had character-creaky floors, tall windows, peeling paint, the kind of building that had been standing for over 100 years, probably housing generations of people before me. I lived on the 3rd floor. Above me were 2 more apartments, and below me a row of units that stretched down into the basement level. When I moved in, the landlord told me most of the basement apartments were empty. Too damp, too dark, he said. Hardly anyone lasts down there. I didn't think much of it. I was just happy to have my own space. For the first few months, everything was fine. I worked during the day, came home late, cooked dinner, watched TV, went to bed. Normal. But then I started noticing noises at night. Soft tapping, scratching sounds, sometimes faint knocks, almost like someone was rapping gently on the walls from the other side. At first, I blamed the pipes. Old buildings make noise, right? That's what I kept telling myself. But then the noises grew clearer. They weren't random, they were patterned. 3 knocks, pause, 3 knocks again. Sometimes it was scraping, like fingernails dragging slowly along the wall behind my bed. One night, I woke up at 2 in the morning to the sound of faint humming, a low, steady hum coming up through the floorboards from the apartment below me. I didn't think anyone lived down there. The next morning, I asked my landlord if someone had moved into the basement unit. He frowned and shook his head. "No," he said. "That place has been empty for months. Nobody's supposed to be down there." That made me uneasy, but I tried to forget about it. Old buildings echo, sounds travel. That's all it was. Except it wasn't. The noises kept coming. Louder now, more deliberate. Knocks at the exact same time every night. Scratches that lasted 4 minutes. The humming, which sometimes turned into whispers. I couldn't make out the words, but I swear they were being spoken directly beneath me, as if someone was standing in that dark basement apartment and talking up through the floor. One night, the knocking grew so loud that I finally snapped. I grabbed a flashlight and went downstairs. The basement hallway was colder than the rest of the building. My breath came out in little puffs, even though it was summer. The hallway was lined with doors, most of them locked and covered in dust. At the far end was the unit directly beneath mine. The door was closed, a heavy padlock hanging from the latch. I pressed my ear against it. Silence. No knocks, no whispers, nothing. I rattled the lock, solid. No one could have been in there. Feeling a little stupid, I went back upstairs. But that night the noises returned, louder than before. And this time I heard something that made my blood run cold. It said my name, whispered, slow, drawn out, rising up from the floorboards. My name, over and over. I didn't sleep at all. I sat in my living room until dawn, staring at the ceiling, telling myself I had imagined it. The next morning, I went straight to my landlord. I told him everything, the noises, the whispers, the voice saying my name. He looked pale, uneasy. Finally, he said that unit's been locked for years. The last tenant, well, they didn't leave in the usual way. Police found him dead inside. No signs of forced entry, no cause of death they could ever figure out. After that, I sealed the place. Nobody's been down there since. I wanted to move out right then, but I couldn't afford to break my lease, so I stayed. And that's when things got worse. The whispers weren't just at night anymore. They came during the day too. When I showered, I'd hear them through the pipes. When I cooked, I'd hear faint humming under the stove. Sometimes I'd wake up and see shadows moving across my ceiling, even though there was no one above me. And the smell, a damp, rotting smell that seemed to seep up through the floorboards, like something decomposing deep in the wood. I started leaving the apartment for hours just to escape it. I stayed late at work, wandered the city, anything to avoid going home. But no matter where I went, I dreaded returning, because I knew the moment I opened my door, I'd hear it. That voice whispering my name from the apartment below. One night, everything escalated. I had fallen asleep on the couch with the TV on. Around 3 a.m., I woke to silence. The TV had shut off. The entire building felt still, heavy. And then I heard it. Not whispers, not humming, but pounding. Something slamming against the floor from underneath. Hard, shaking the furniture. My picture frames rattled. My glass of water tipped over. The pounding grew louder, faster, until it felt like the floor might give way. And then it stopped. I held my breath, waiting, and that's when I heard it. Footsteps, slow, deliberate footsteps, not beneath me. Inside my apartment, crossing the floor, coming toward the couch where I sat frozen. I couldn't move. I couldn't even scream. I just watched as the air in front of me seemed to bend, like heat rising off pavement. A shadow stretched across the wall. A tall, thin shape with no features, no face, just darkness. It leaned close, and in a voice that wasn't a whisper anymore, but a growl, it said my name. The next thing I remember, it was morning. Sunlight poured in, and I was alone on the couch. I moved out that same week. I didn't even pack properly. I left furniture behind, dishes, clothes, everything. I didn't care. I just wanted out. Sometimes I still dream about that apartment. In the dreams, I'm lying in bed and I hear the knocking start up again. 3 knocks, pause, 3 knocks, then the humming, then my name. I wake up sweating, convinced that if I ever go back, whatever was in that basement apartment will be waiting for me. And maybe it still is. If you enjoyed this story and would like to listen to more of our spooky tales, we've got just the playlist for you. On our podcast, we release new episodes every Friday in October. You can find the link to these episodes in the description below. If you love scary stories, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, happy Halloween.